Hey YouTube, this is Zach with Achilles Financial, and we are back. Today we're going to be talking about Boeing. They trade under the ticker symbol BA on the New York Stock Exchange. Boeing has been an interesting company because they have seen some huge swings over the course of the past year. Now, this is a company that's already seen a lot of headwinds associated with their Boeing 737 issues, as well as just a number of crashes, some which resulted in the loss of life. Actually, I believe all of their crashes did. But again, they've had a lot of issues on the approval side, but they've also had a huge issue and a lot of canceled orders associated with that huge drawdown in business. However, as you can see, they are coming down from their highs of 337 prior to the coronavirus pandemic, where they dropped all the way down below $100 a share. Now, one of the things that's important to note about Boeing is the fact that this is a company that is definitely in the classified too big to fail. Now, whether you agree or disagree with that, I want to highlight the fact that this company received government support during the pandemic, as they did from 2008 to 2009. This company does continue to provide hundreds of thousands of jobs. However, there is still a lot involved in the overall company that has some negative headwinds. Despite all of that, due to the fact that we've seen a pretty strong reopening push, the stock has come off of its lows from last year all the way to be up at $250 at the close of today's trades. Now, one of the reasons why I'm bullish on Boeing right now in the short term is the fact that I do think that they are going to be continued to push higher on reopening trade, as well as I think the rotation back to value is something that is going to continue. For that reason, full disclosure, and this is something I've talked about in my Discord, is I did place calls on Boeing. I currently, if we look at the options chain, I did go in on the April 9th calls for 280, which is farther down here. So the reason why is because I think that we're going to see a bounce back up in line with the rotation that we saw. If we look at the 1 month, we just saw a rotation kind of switch from where tech kind of flatlined, the bond yields kind of flatline, and value has kind of sold off, as well as, again, Boeing has had a number of negative headwinds associated with valuations and not. So all of that being said, let's talk about Boeing short term and what we need to be looking at. From a fundamental analysis perspective, this is a company that when I say they were hit hard in 2020. You can see they actually had a low last year, high of $349.95, low of $89. Now, if we look at their income statement, you can see why. I want to actually look at the annual first, where in 2019, and again, these revenue numbers here are in billions, they had 84 billion in sales. In 2018, over 100 billion in sales. Whereas in 2020, that number dropped all the way down to 58 million. Keep in mind, this is a company that, in the same vein as a lot of the other companies we've looked at, this is not how many planes they are building. Rather, this is how many planes have been built and sold. So there's a key difference there between bookings and revenue. Bookings is when you sign the contract that says, hey, we would like to purchase the plane, and revenue is when the plane is actually delivered. Now you can see that despite the fact that their revenue is still nearly $60 billion, I do want to highlight that from a profit standpoint, they were losing a lot of money in 2020 to the tune of net income negative nearly $12 billion. So that was obviously not good for the stock price, obviously not good for the company, as well as the fact that they drew down a lot of their outstanding lines of credit. Because of this, that has put them in a somewhat precarious situation. That being said, they still have a lot of potential going forward, and I anticipate that they will continue to do so. So let's take a look at some of their outstanding orders as well as some of the near-term potential. So this slide can be found on the company website under the investor relations perspective, And what I want to highlight here is, again, the unfilled orders and their overall backlog. So this is the various planes. You can see the 730, 747, 67, 777, and the 787. Right now, their total unfilled orders is nearly 5,000 planes, with the overall backlog being right at 4,000. The reason why this number is pretty important is because the fact is that they have already contracted all of these planes. They just need to go out and build them and fulfill them. Now, despite the fact there's been a lot of supply chain issues, Boeing overall has continued to output a lot of planes and has been able to deliver them. So if you talk about the deliveries report, you can see all of the planes that they are actively delivering, including the delivery month. You can look at the engine and what have you. One of the things I want to highlight, though, is that this year, 2021, they've already delivered on 48 planes. Now, each of these planes, we're talking millions of dollars in revenue. So as they continue to push these out, that revenue number will continue to go up, especially as some of that demand increases. The big question is going to be, can we or will they be able to hold a valuation that is near their same highs that they were pre-pandemic? Now, from a long-term value perspective, I think that in 10 years, there's still a lot of potential for Boeing as a whole, but it's not necessarily a company I'm looking to own the shares on long-term, but rather I'm looking to play the call options, get them up to 280, and then sell out. From an overall company perspective, though, there's still a lot of potential because you can even see here, if we go back to the orders report, this calendar year, 2021, they've had, and I understand that this probably isn't the easiest way to read this, but they've had 86 planes that were ordered this calendar year. While a lot of them were here in North America, we still have a few others even in Asia, as well as these unidentified. But the key thing here is they still have 86 planes that are being ordered, despite the fact that the deliveries were still not even able to catch up to how much input is coming in compared to what we are actively sending out. So for that reason, again, you can see the year-to-date net orders is 34. The big one being that 737. So as these continue to get ordered and they continue to produce, it can only bode well for the overall company. The more of this data that comes out, the better I think that we will be. In that same vein, you can see this data is through 2/28, aka this is through the end of February. We should anticipate that we will have an additional set of orders that is going, or at least the delivery and order data will be coming out at the end of March, which will be in the next week and a half. I personally am expecting good, strong numbers. If that is the case, then what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to flip out of my call options at a profit. That being said, the stock could continue upwards all the way up back to those pre-pandemic highs, which we've seen a lot of other companies do. So this is just my speculation. I'm by no means a financial advisor. I'm just some guy on YouTube, but this is the data I'm looking at, and this is what I'm looking to play. So if you'd like to see what I'm playing in real time, feel free to check out the Discord in the description below. If you found this content helpful, please leave a like and subscribe on the video, or if you'd like to talk some more, drop a comment down below. Thanks for checking it out. If you have any other questions, let me know.